While I adore JRPGs enough to have an entire channel dedicated to them, I have other games I have a deep love for as well that I don't often get to talk about, at least until I realized something recently. Between JRPGs and while playing some of the things in this video, I was thinking about how I love parts of these games that actually do relate back to elements I love in JRPGs that felt like a good chance to share them, as they are big parts of them that keep me coming back. JRPGs have a bunch of mechanics that when all put together make them fit into the genre, but these mechanics like skills and leveling are in no way exclusive, meaning I can find them in other games I enjoy like rhythm games and visual novels with a twist. That means I can still get the satisfaction I get from the genre in other places that makes for some exciting experiences that I enjoy playing in between things. So with this idea in mind, these are 5 not JRPGs that I love that also have JRPG elements to keep me engaged between things that allow me to enjoy something different with familiar things that I love in the variety of things I try to play. A game I got the incredible urge to play recently was Spyro the Dragon, a game I used to love as a kid that I really wanted to run around and pick stuff up in, especially because the new version looks so good. What I was struck by while playing it now was how it creates such a good atmosphere for exploration, which is a feature I commonly love in JRPGs as well. Its twinkly music and its overworld creates that sense of wonder as you explore and find new portals that lead you to new places, and those worlds are full of plenty of satisfying problem solving with its platforming mechanics to enjoy in each new place, along with the occasional extra things to find like its side quest minigames to collect orbs and test your skills with. There are even extra techniques to play with if you take down enough enemies along the way, with the fact that you're also picking up gems and crystals having a gathering element that of course appeals to me, that has this game still be perfectly fun as an adult, and appeals to a lot of what I like in other games that I didn't expect to find here years later. If you haven't tried the Reignited Trilogy and you have that ping of Spyro nostalgia, I definitely recommend this latest version, as it comes with all 3 Spyro games that I do plan to work my way through in my spare time, and the upgraded graphics are still very faithful to the original, as I found myself being reminded of the dialogues and areas I witnessed as a kid, but in a sharper and more beautiful form that makes it very easy to enjoy. Perhaps when I've finished Fire Emblem, I'll get back to trying to complete a level a day to try and unlock the Super Skateboarding minigame sometime soon, and with all 3 games in this package, I'm sure it'll keep me busy for a while as I keep enjoying nostalgia in its big explorable worlds. Thanks to its Persona collaboration last year, I've been able to mention my one true rhythm game love before, but when it comes to games I play regularly in my free time, this video would not be complete without mentioning Bang Dream, a game I've been heavily into since I got into the series in 2020, and I love it shamelessly enough to play every event to get its few cards. That makes it my go-to mobile game when I'm on the go, and I also have its Switch version for when I feel like seeing its events on a bigger screen after studying the Japanese in them. I first started it attracted by its cute and happy art style that is regularly found on train posters here in Japan, especially since I thought having a rhythm game for the train ride home would be a relaxing addition to my smartphone library. What I didn't expect was to then fall in love with the anime, the manga, and the series as a whole, to the point where I've gone through all of its events to understand as much of its story as possible to help me enjoy things like its movies more, which I've made sure to watch all of, and while my understanding of it isn't perfect as it's in Japanese, I think it has helped me improve my understanding of simple daily Japanese conversation a lot, and I play on its Japanese server to keep up with everything, as clearly I'm invested in this game and the heartwarming musical world it provides with characters that all have something I like about them. As for the rhythm game part and its RPG elements, if you played it or other smartphone rhythm games like Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage that I also enjoy, you might have noticed the units you collect have stats assigned to them for Bang Dream in the form of performance, technical, and visual parameters, and these all contribute to the score you get for each song or the extra boosts you get in each event. And partnered with type and unit level, they play an important part when you're trying to make a band to get the most rewards in events, which essentially is just making up a party. I really enjoy trying to plan for these events just before they come out, trying to guess which member and types will need to be in a party, and leveling and evolving units accordingly. So the stat element for evolving units and getting good skills definitely plays a decent part in why I enjoy this game, and helps add to the many things I enjoy about it. I recommend it to fans of rhythm games and visual novel elements, as these are still ultimately the most prominent parts of this game, but I like that I can also enjoy things like stat raising and resource collecting in it too. That makes it the perfect rhythm game experience for me when put with all of its characters and bands that I love too, and I hope the series keeps going for a very long time, as I'm still more than ready to keep enjoying it for as long as I can. Speaking of games I like to play to relax, a game I often find myself playing every week is Mario Kart 8, specifically with my boyfriend, as it's a great way to hang out and have some friendly and not so friendly gaming time together. As a racing game, RPG elements are naturally few and far between, as ideally it should be about skill and driving well. But Mario Kart has things like items and special carts that can add that feeling of comparing stats and whatnot, which can add some extra satisfaction for RPG fans like myself, although admittedly they're not something I worry much about as I play this, as I'm usually just playing casually and trying to have some fun. If you want to find an equipment element, my boyfriend found by looking online that certain carts and characters do better than others. I'm personally set in using the adorable teddy buggy and not really worrying about this, but I was really surprised to hear that the equipment you use in this game has an effect, although I guess it makes sense as there are parameters for each cart that probably do help if you're trying to race more seriously that could add some extra satisfaction in when they work. The element I tend to get tied up in though is the timing of the best moment to use my items, which with my JRPG taste I think makes a lot of sense and is also a great way to be really annoying to race with. I love waiting until the final lap, sometimes just to use all my best items, or other times making sure they're all used up before the next item box comes to cause maximum chaos. I've also enjoyed learning which items you can use to defend against other ones that makes Mario Kart surprisingly deep, and there's even the fun of saving mushrooms for boosts into shortcuts that almost adds in an exploration element to this racing game, especially when I consider all the times I've lost races thanks to driving off to the side to try and explore these potential new paths to first place, and I know there are still secrets on each track to discover that make playing it still really exciting, aside from the friendly banter that usually happens too. It's a genius racing game in my opinion that I still have more to learn about. In fact, we only just tried the minigame modes in it a few weeks ago that were surprisingly fun. I also have the Deluxe course pack that means I'm looking forward to trying new tracks and areas as soon as they're released, and love how this one-switch game can provide so much fun in all its depth and pure chaos that makes it an awesome racing game experience that will keep me playing it for a good while. I talked about how I enjoy the visual novel elements of Bang Dream, and these are elements I enjoy not just from these types of moments in RPGs, but also thanks to Danganronpa, the first visual novel I played, and helped me understand that these text-heavy adventures can be fun, especially with great voice acting and an incredibly well-written world. If you don't know the story of Danganronpa, most of them are based around students being locked in a high school with Principal Monokuma there to explain the rules, with those rules basically being that if you want to escape, they have to kill a fellow student without being caught, including by getting through a class trial undiscovered, with lots of bright and dynamic art and moments to accompany it that make for a very exciting experience full of thrills, chills, and kills. While most of the time Danganronpa is a text-heavy visual novel telling a great story, during class trials and even its mid-chapter exploration, there are elements reminiscent of JRPG ones that can definitely satisfy fans of the JRPG genre playing this too. For example, the class trials have you using a bunch of skills when releasing truth bullets that you need to be mindful of the effects of, and if you use them well, are a good way to complete trials quicker to prevent a game over. And while this isn't a JRPG exclusive element, there are social mechanics between chapters that allow you to get to know its characters that I loved when I first got into Danganronpa as someone who had just come off playing Persona 4 Golden, so I definitely think it has appeal for those who like the JRPG genre outside of its aesthetic. And with a great story to tell, it's great that many people have got into the series, as the mysteries it has you solving are always very interesting. To top things off, Danganronpa also has straight-up RPG minigames, including one that actually got released as a spin-off game in the recent Danganronpa Decadence collection for Switch, and while it's also a board game spin-off, I loved that minigame, so to have it in its own experience was something that made me really happy when it came out, and naturally appeals to the JRPG fan in me too, and I need to get back to it at some point. It's a series I love thanks to its great story and its blend of many mechanics that span other genres, and I'm glad my JRPG tendencies could help get me into it, as it really is one of my favorite video game series ever that I hope to replay sometime, as it's such an interesting world to get lost in. I mentioned the Danganronpa spin-off Danganronpa S that puts its visual novel characters into a JRPG cross-board game and a cool new twist on the world, and while I'm sure it's not the only example of a series of another genre trying its hand at being an RPG, JRPGs also have their own spin-offs too, experimenting with genres like rhythm and racing that give a fun new way to see JRPG characters in different situations and see how favorite parties take on other mechanics. The best example I can think of that I've played are the Persona dance games that I platinum all three of, job and loved seeing and hearing all of its fantastic songs in a new playable way. Additionally, it keeps all the social parts that many Persona fans love that keeps its appeal, and while there aren't many RPG mechanics to speak of outside of the way songs unlock with 3 regular songs and one you could consider kind of like a boss battle song of sorts as it unlocks more, it's nonetheless cool to see its characters in a different way that makes me curious about other spin-offs like these. Recently, thanks to liking Mario Kart, I've been curious about Chocobo GP that came from the Final Fantasy series that I think could combine my enjoyment of racing and Final Fantasy as well. And there are plenty of other genres that RPGs have explored, such as fighting games and more simple monster collecting walking games. That means there's a wealth of things to find that I'm sure I haven't even discovered yet, and I'm sure we'll see more in the future as it's a good break in between games in a series. To round things up in this video, it's been great to share a few games I love outside of the JRPG genre here and why I love them from a JRPG fan standpoint. And I always love seeing genres blend together as it usually makes for something interesting and unique that makes things fun to play no matter what genre they try to fit into best. I hope you found this video interesting and hope that it maybe introduced you to some other great games. And no matter whether you're playing a JRPG or another type of game right now, I hope you're having fun as there are really a lot of great things to play, JRPG or not, that makes me glad to be into video games as a whole, as I love the way it lets me explore many beautiful worlds in many fun ways. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you tend to play between JRPGs and what's your favorite game that isn't a JRPG. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below, and until next time, thank you, bye!